If you run a company or manage a team, hiring qualified people quickly can make or break your business. Imagine a position of need going unfilled for weeks or even months because you just can't seem to find the right candidate. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people you want faster. This makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts. You only pay for results on your job post. Just in the last minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Now that is fast. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. Listeners will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/BWN. Go to Indeed.com/BWN right now to support this podcast. Indeed.com/BWN. Terms and conditions apply.
Mochi Health is here to help you start your weight loss journey with caring, personalized support. Meet one-on-one with board-certified obesity doctors and registered dietitians who truly listen and understand your unique needs. Eligible patients can access affordable GLP-1 medications delivered right to their door each month. No insurance? No problem. Mochi Health accepts FSA and HSA, making care accessible and affordable. And with 24/7 customer service, you'll never feel alone on your path to better health. Get started with Mochi Health today. Take the free quiz at joinmochi.com and use code AUDIO40 at checkout for $40 off your first month of membership. That's joinmochi.com with promo code AUDIO40.
What's up, guys? It's three-time NFL Pro Bowler, all-decade return specialist, Josh Cribbs. I want to welcome you to the Mac Sports Connection podcast, where Alex hosts all things Mac, all things football, all things sports, right here, Mac Sports Connection, baby. The Mid-American Conference best, bringing it only the greats, Mac, to everyone.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Mac Sports Connection podcast, part of the Varsity Podcast Network, presented by Learfield. I'm your host, Alex. Joining me as always, it's Graham. Graham, welcome back. It's April already.
Wow. It's April. That's the kind of getting a little bit run down with the March Madness of it all. I don't. Does that happen to you? I suspect true basketball fans don't get that way. But for me, once my bracket's busted on day 2 of the tournament, I only have so much energy left, and it carries me just up to the Final Four and not all the way to the championship game. So I'm pretty basketballed out.
I get pretty basketballed out on probably that first hour and a half after my bracket is busted. So you last a little longer than me, my friend.
That's I think that's the fate of college basketball. Is we all get really excited about March Madness, and we think our system is finally going to work, and then it never does. For a brief moment in time, I was in the top 10,000 brackets in the CBS's bracket challenge this year, and then I checked about an hour later, and I was in the top 1.5 millionth bracket. So that's just the way the tournament unfolded for me. We had some exciting postseason play this week from our last MAC representative, but we're gonna keep you on the edge of your seat as you wait for that and dive right into to softball.
Man, I got to tell you, this the softball season's kind of shaking up the way I thought it would, and I think the way a lot of people thought it would. Right? We knew Miami was going to be the force in the Mid-American Conference yet again. Yes, they lost their coach, who's now at Ohio State, and they lost a lot of seniors to graduation. But this is a team that is just coming out and just pounding conference opponents again. 13-1 in conference play, the Miami Redhawks, and they're doing it all. They did drop one game to Central Michigan this weekend, but they did ultimately take the series. But they hadn't lost until the Central game yesterday. And we're recording this on a Sunday, so until the Central game on April 5th. They hadn't lost since Marshall back on 3/18. So they've just been running through the Mid-American Conference.
Almost a full month of undefeated play. I mean, still only one loss in the conference is not bad.
No.
Especially this deep into conference play. I think we're into week 7 of the softball season. So yeah, still very impressive. Miami still sitting on top of the standings and still looking great. I'm going to go ahead and chalk them into the conference tournament at this point. I don't know if they've officially mathematically clinched, but in my mind, they've clinched.
They've got, looks like the season runs through, well, we have about another month of softball yet. And in that time, they will be playing some non-conference opponents. So I think if you're putting money on the Miami Redhawks to make the MAC softball tournament, don't waste your time putting money down on it because you're going to get pennies on the $1,000 you place. So just write them in. But they've looked good. Overall 23-16 on the season. Right behind them, of course, Ohio with 2 losses in conference play. They've won pretty much every series in conference play. Dropped a game here and there, sitting at 8-2, 25-10. Following them is Ball State, 9-4 with a 24-10 record. But the story I wanted to talk about this week, the Toledo Rockets not only beat Michigan State once, they beat them twice, swept them in the Twin Bill in rare fashion for a Mid-American Conference team to do over a Big Ten opponent.
Yeah, I mean, we don't generally see that, especially when it comes to softball. A lot of these schools just have a little more funding, especially when we talk about these bigger schools. So it is hard in the softball world to take on these the Big Ten opponents, and not just get a win, that we can sometimes chalk up as just kind of a sneaky win there, but really a sweep in the 2 games. It's impressive, and it says a lot for the state of softball in the MAC that we have teams who are capable of doing that. And no offense to Toledo softball, but they're not at the top of the conference. And so a win over Michigan State by the third worst team in the conference right now. I think it says good thing about MAC softball.
So I wanted to shout out, of course, Sophia Knight. We talked about her throwing that no-hitter earlier this year. She went 9 innings in that game 1 win over Sparty. She allowed 3 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk with 5 strikeouts, and that's a career high in innings pitched in a game for her, which, of course, those who know softball, it's a 7-inning game. But like baseball, you can keep going until there's a winner. Kylie Graham and Maddie Yackey wrapped up game 2 over 7 innings, and they got it done. They got it done for Toledo. This was a great effort. Madison McKay had a walk-off single in the 4th in game 2, or a walk-off single capped off a 4-run 7th inning to help Toledo win this series. And, Michigan State, they're not exactly high in the Big Ten right now. They're 12-19. But this is a big-time set of victories for Toledo, a program who's frankly has been struggling on the softball diamond. This is a solid series sweep over a Power 4 opponent. And it's their first win over a Power 4 opponent since they beat Northwestern back in 2023.
Yeah, beginning of the season in 2023. So it's been a while. And yeah, I mean, that's the one quick correction. The no-hitter was Kylie Graham.
Kylie Graham, that's right.
But regardless, the Rockets, despite their standings in the conference, continue to do impressive things, even if they're just one-offs. I think it speaks to both the quality of the play in the conference as well as the potential for this Rockets squad going forward.
No, I agree with you. So hats off to Toledo. They're going to be taking on the Bobcats of Ohio this week. Should be a good 3-game series there. But hats off to Toledo. I just felt like that was the important headline of the week, right? Obviously Miami's been running through the Mid-American Conference. Ball State, Ohio, both sitting towards the top of the league, as well as Central Michigan. That kind of rounds out your top 4. But Toledo, you get our tip of the cap for the week with the sweep over Sparty.
Yeah, absolutely. That's and again, something that we're looking forward to. And like you said, with when we talk about the top of the conference, right now we're talking about Miami and Ohio. So certainly we're looking forward to that. I think it's an April 18th that series starts between Miami and Ohio. So a series that already has rivalry implications is now going to have conference title implications as well. So we'll be looking forward to that.
Absolutely. You're talking about Miami going almost a full month of not losing. Well, we've got a team on the men's side who have done something similar. Kent State men's baseball has kicked it into high gear the last couple of weeks. They are on a 10-game winning streak, a win streak that dates back to 3/22, my sister's birthday. So I think she's been pulling for Kent State this whole time. And that's been their birthday gift to her, is just a bunch of wins.
Yeah, I didn't realize your sister was such a Kent State fan. I do like Kent State baseball. There was a while there where I lived right around the corner, walking distance from that ball field, and so I've seen my fair share of Kent State baseball games, and they're a lot of fun to watch. We always talk about that 2012 team that made a trip to the College World Series, and it's so exciting. I think when Kent State is good in the conference, and they've been doing great. I mean, it's you like to talk about that. What is it? The broadcaster's curse is as soon as you mention something, the player on the field is going to do the opposite. We've been talking about how Kent State has been kind of disappointing, middling in the conference so far this season, and suddenly they turn around and go on a 10-game win streak, just to shut us up. I'm sure that's not why, but it feels that way. Love to see the flashes towards the top of the conference. 10-2 in conference play, really only out of that first spot by virtue of not having played the same number of games. And you could look at the top of the softball standings and look at the top of the baseball standings and think you're looking at the same page on this the MAC website here, because we've got the Red Hawks of Miami sitting on top of both. Miami 12-2 in the conference for baseball, 17-13 overall. I think that's interesting here is Miami's been doing so well in the conference and about 500 overall.
Yeah.
Compared to some of these teams, Bowling Green is 20-9 overall. Ball State 23-10. Even Kent State not doing much better than Miami, but still doing pretty good at 18-11. Miami making their bread off of conference victories, and a strategy that can work out for you. I'm not sure it's a strategy that we root for, because we always want to see the winner of that conference tournament do something in a regional, maybe move on to a super regional, maybe cross your fingers, knock on wood, maybe move on to that College World Series. But so not doing well outside of the conference doesn't bode particularly well for those hopes and dreams, but it is a way. That's the point of this conference. As long as we remain a one bid league, as it were, and technically it would be possible for another MAC team to get in as an at large. It's just not very probable. But as long as we remain just that one bid, the secret to success is to win enough in the MAC to make it to the tournament and then to win the tournament. Miami's doing that this year, and we'll see how it works out for them, Cotton.
Well, I think it'll be interesting, right? Miami's they've done such a nice job competing in the Mid-American Conference, and something of note, something that is worth keeping your eye on. We've got Miami versus Bowling Green this afternoon, and it does look like Bowling Green pulled that victory out. So Miami does drop a game in conference play. Miami is actually going to drop to 12-3 in Mid-American Conference play. Bowling Green improves to 11-4. So waiting for the MAC website to update with that information, of course. Not sure what that does to standings. I think that's probably going to push Kent State real close to win percentage to first place in the Mid-American Conference standings. Miami does take that series against Bowling Green, but the Falcons do avoid the sweep with the Game 3 pickup 7-6. But I think to your point, Graham, Miami, this feels like it's been the year of almost for the Redhawks. In football, they almost won the MAC championship. In basketball, right, they almost won the MAC championship. Are we going to see that with baseball? I mean, we know their field hockey. We know how great their field hockey is. We don't need to rehash that. They've gone on like a 15,000 conference tournament win streak, essentially. But that just feels like the year of the almost for the Redhawks.
Yeah, and this it's interesting because we've been talking about how does Miami stack up compared to these other top teams in the conference in baseball, and they came out on Friday and beat Bowling Green both legs of the doubleheader. Mm-hmm. So they looked like very commanding against Bowling Green. Since then, we've had some weather. First of all, and then we've also had just by virtue of a Sunday afternoon kind of matinee game. Anything can happen in those games, and so Bowling Green comes out on top. That will drop Miami to second place in the conference. The Golden Flashes move up to first there, just based on conference winning percentage. But I don't know that this says that much, frankly. It certainly moves Miami around, and we do talk about are they close enough? I'm not going to put too much stock in a Sunday loss to a conference rival. So I think things are still looking up for Miami, both in baseball and in softball. It's interesting the success the Redhawks have seen this year. We talk about all these teams getting close, but no cigar. But getting close is still an accomplishment in and of itself. So we talk about Miami football pretty good, Miami basketball pretty good. That's the now Miami baseball and softball pretty good. And of course your love affair with Miami field hockey will be written about in great tomes for history. This is
don't mess with my girls over there. That's my team.
I'm not messing with anybody, Alex. I'm only messing with you. Of course, these Redhawks doing great so far this year, and Miami athletics has been great all year long.
Something I'll point out: they're not an NCAA team. They're not a MAC program at Miami, but the Redhawks are playing, talking about sports being good, Redhawks are playing dodgeball for the national championship against Cincinnati, I believe today or tomorrow. So, again, Miami trying to get it done on a big stage.
That's right. And, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. I couldn't find a clever way to work that in, so I just went straight for it. It's not my best work, but, it's we're talking about non-MAC, non-conference dodgeball. I think we'll be all right.
I think we will survive. Kind of just going down real quick the line with some other things around the Mid-American Conference before we dive into postseason. We've got the Buffalo men's tennis. They won the MAC men's regular season title. It's their first since 2017, so they'll be the top seed in the MAC men's tennis tournament later on this year. I want to say it's about 2 weeks out maybe. A surprising headline, women's lacrosse. Normally we see Robert Morris or Central Michigan just kind of running through the rest of the Mid-American Conference. No, with just 3 games left in regular season action, the Akron Zips, the former lowly Akron Zips, are sitting atop of the Mid-American Conference standings, sitting at 3-1, and they are the only MAC school above 500 this season. Like I said, 3 games left in the regular season, and if Akron can win out or play things right, they hold a couple of really important tiebreakers, particularly over a Central Michigan who has been so dominant in this conference. They could be hosting their first ever MAC lacrosse tournament championship here in a couple weeks, which how exciting would that be for Akron?
Yeah, I mean certainly I think Akron is one of those, one of the schools in the MAC that is most desperate for athletic success. Other than the soccer field, Akron has not had a lot of athletic success, especially lately, and it's great to see Akron, especially in these lacrosse, which is a sport that we don't cover that often, but that we should cover more often, and great to see the Zips on top there. Being a hometown Akron guy, always rooting for the Zips in anything that I can.
Absolutely. And then I guess last not least, we'll wrap up here with arguably the biggest accomplishment. The Western Michigan Broncos hockey team has reached their first ever Frozen Four. And in fact, they'll be taking on number 6th ranked and NCHC, the National College Hockey Conference. I want to make sure I get that right. They'll be taking number 6 Denver on in the first round of the NCAA Frozen Four. And this, like I said, this is their first one in school history. And I think this is a huge accomplishment. Frozen Four, you've heard the schools who have made it before: Michigan State, Notre Dame, Minnesota, Michigan, like the perennial powers of college hockey, a sport that obviously the MAC doesn't have teams involved, but I think it's a really cool opportunity for Western Michigan to get that Bronco head on the national stage, and a great opportunity for Western Michigan to have this national publicity.
Yeah, I mean that's Western came into this the NCHC tournament this year as the 1 seed, so we're kind of expected to make it to the championship, and they have, and so that's certainly impressive, and something that we want to keep an eye on there. This is one of the things that when we're covering sports here, we don't necessarily only cover conference sports. We tend to cover conference schools, but we do like to see success for these MAC schools, and go Broncos.
Go Broncos indeed. Really excited for them. They are 2-1 against Denver on the season, including a 4-3 double overtime win over Denver in the NCHC championship. We'll be pulling for Western Michigan to get it done in the Frozen Four and to bring a national championship home to Kalamazoo. If you guys want to catch that game and really any others, make sure you guys download the Varsity app by Lairfield. It is free to download in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. And on that app, you can listen live to all your favorite Division I college teams. Your calls from voices across the MAC, Big Ten, SEC, whatever conference you love, they've got the voices for you. Sign in, save your favorite schools, sports, and content for easy access. You're also going to find hundreds of amazing podcasts through the Varsity Podcast Network, including fan favorites such as yours truly, the MAC Sports Connection, Group of Five Guys podcast, Sigos Committees podcast, and many more. So make sure you guys download the Varsity app for free. Start listening to the calls and podcasts that bring your favorite teams to life. Graham, we have one team. There will be 3 women's basketball teams who will leave the 2024-2025 season with a trophy.
With a tournament championship trophy.
With a tournament championship.
There's a lot of trophies out there.
With a tournament championship. An important trophy. The Mid-American Conference can lay claim to one of those this year.
That's right.
Last night we saw the Buffalo Bulls, for the first time since 2011, win a WNIT championship out of the Mid-American Conference. This is so they joined Toledo and that great Toledo team who beat USC. Nama Shafir dropped 40 points. That's a fun fact I like to bring up on that championship team.
Yeah.
This is the first MAC team to win the WNIT since that 2011 Toledo team, and only the second MAC team in tournament history. The tournament began in 98. Becky Burke is doing something special at Buffalo. This is a first time they've won 30 wins or had 30 wins in a season. Finished second place in the regular season in the Mid-American Conference. And one of my favorite stats from this, and we can do the game breakdown here in a minute, but one of my favorite stats from this is they set a new attendance record at, over 5,600, which if you saw any photos online from that game and from what the arena looked like, Alumni Arena was packed to the brim with fans and alumni and supporters, which was awesome. Buffalo bookended their season with wins over Troy at home. The SBC MAC Challenge, you start with Troy, you get them at home thinking, okay, cool, we got that out of the way. We're not going to see them again the rest of the year. No, they were the lone team to stand in your way from winning a WNIT championship, and Buffalo got it done.
Yeah, I don't know that they were the lone team to stand in their way, but
coming into last night, they were the lone team.
They were the final team to stand in their way, and Buffalo started the WNIT with a bye in round one. Then came up against UMass, Southern Indiana, Rutgers, Cleveland State, Troy. I want to call myself out. Shout out to me for calling that Buffalo would face off against Cleveland State, and that they would claim victory there. But none of those teams pushovers. No. Certainly, a challenging slate to go through to claim that WNIT title. Shout out to Ball State. Who am I talking about? To Buffalo. The university for bidding and hosting so many of these games. I think Buffalo had one away game in the tournament, which just speaks to the support of the university. The New York University at Buffalo is got to be just excited about this team and about this championship. And you mentioned how exciting it was for Rockets fans in 2011 to see that WNIT championship happen at home. And for it to happen at home for Buffalo as well is just exciting. Great for the conference. Great for Buffalo. Chella Watson has been incredible in her career at Buffalo, and especially this season. It seems like she can't score less than 20 points. No. That's the I'm not sure she's capable of scoring less than 20. She averaged 20.6 on the season while shooting 44% from the field. Just incredible. An incredible basketball player. Also, I don't know if you looked through Buffalo's season here, but they have 7 losses, but they only lost to 4 teams. They lost to Toledo 3 times, Ball State twice, Coastal Carolina, and one other team that and Kent State. That's right. So that's you lose to 4 teams for 7 losses. You're going to have a hell of a season, and it really arguably. Despite not winning the MAC championship, arguably the best season of a MAC team this year. Just giant props to Buffalo.
Yeah, no, Buffalo, they came out, and I talked to Coach Becky Burke before the season started, just, briefly texting her about what she was expecting out of this season. And she said, just watch out, the Bulls are coming. And I don't think she at the time could have imagined just what that was going to mean. And I texted her today, and we're going to get her back on the show, kind of do a breakdown of the WNIT run. She said, quote, would love to hang out and catch up. Let's make it happen. Let me know, and I'll be there. So we're going to get her back on the show to talk about this team and about how special this year has been. But 18-2 at home. If you get an opportunity to host home WNIT games and you're Buffalo this year, you probably weren't losing. That's 18-2 at home. I don't care who you're playing. That's impressive.
Well, to bring in 5,600 fans for that championship game, and to say, we're gonna make sure that this place is loud and this place is rocking for this team. I just that's what we love about the Mid-American Conference is the way fans band together for their teams. I mean, we have this this podcast here, and if we happen to say something negative about a team, you can bet that we will hear about it. Whether that's on the socials or in the DMs. We will hear about anything negative that we say, because people in this conference are so passionate. I think sometimes it's easy to be a fan of the Power Four, to be a fan of a Michigan or an Ohio State, but to get down in the trenches and to be a fan of a MAC school, it asks for that sort of personal dedication, for that real connection to a university on an in-person level. Nobody's a fan of a MAC school without attending MAC sporting events in person. I'm not sure that I've met a single MAC fan who hasn't been to a tailgate. That's somebody who has bought tickets, or who knows somebody who's a season ticket holder, who attended a university and remembers those cold MACtion games in November, or who shows up early to the women's basketball games to get seats in the front row of the student section so they can yell right at the opposing players and try to make them miss their free throws. It's the kind of passion that Mid-American Conference fans have that brings us in to do this show. And it's that kind of passion that we saw in Buffalo's run here in the WNIT. Having all of these home games and having the fans stand behind them, and really the whole Buffalo community, it was something to behold. And so very, very impressed with Buffalo and with the Buffalo fans, and very impressed with this Buffalo team.
I agree. And I think you nailed that right on the head with this idea that it's special. It's this whole thing has been special. Being a MAC fan is special. And I think you're spot on. I don't think I could have even thought about putting that more eloquently than you just did. So bravo, hats off to you. Show's over. Great work, guys. No, I mean, I'm looking at this box score right now. You and I were talking a little bit about this off air. Troy was up 10 at the break. Buffalo came out and scored 54 second half points to win this thing. And Troy, honestly, at times, they were up 14 multiple times throughout this game. Like, this was a game that looked like it was going to be over before we hit halftime. And if anybody kind of following along on socials, you kind of saw, okay, they're trailing at half, whatever, it's fine. But this is a cardiac, they call them the cardiac kids, the old Cleveland Browns teams, right? That was kind of how I felt watching this Buffalo game, because you knew they weren't done. You knew Chella Watson wasn't going to leave her final game with a loss. You knew that this team as a whole was ready to come out and fight and win a championship. And they did. I mean, they were incredible from beyond the arc. 38% from three. 47.9% field goal percentage on the night. Buffalo did not give up. They dug in deep. They fought. And to pull out a championship like this, I mean, you've got to give all these players their flowers. I mean, Chella Watson, of course. Nolani Cornfield was another great player. Kristen Lewis-Williams, another great player. I mean, Jordan Beatty. This whole lineup of Buffalo players. Becky Burke only went to 3 bench players in this game. She didn't use her bench. She relied on the talent that she knew she had. Said, hey, guys, you want it, go win it. And she did. Tara Harness got some great minutes. Paula Lopez, Ariana Sewell, all these players got minutes, got an opportunity to go out and do things. But she knew what she had in her starters and her players that were on the field or on the court, and she let them have it. She said, "It's yours. Go get it." And I think that's special. And to get, like you said, to do it in front of 56,000 or 5,600 of the people who care about the program. I really hope that this is another launching point for Buffalo basketball, as it should be. An opportunity to see them start to maybe challenge Toledo a little bit for attendance records, right? Toledo's on a 34-year conference leading attendance record, which is impressive in itself. It's like so they've been in the top like 30 for the last like 27 years in the country. I would love to see Buffalo start to kind of make a push at that, and say, hey, no, we're Buffalo. We're here. So, I mean, again, what a great game. Becky Burke has done a great job out at Buffalo with this team. And wow, I could watch that game 100 times and still just my heart would still be racing every single time.
Yeah, I mean, we covered Buffalo all year long. They were my pick to win the MAC tournament, and didn't quite happen in the MAC tournament, but certainly glad to see them hoist the trophy for the WNIT. Yeah, I mean, it's been a great time covering this Buffalo team. And like you said, hopefully this does spark a wave of support for the Buffalo women's basketball team, the way that the WNIT win for Toledo sparked a new wave of support for the Rockets women's basketball team. I don't know if you were a women's basketball fan before coming to Toledo, but for me, that energy and that passion surrounding that Rockets team, around the time that I was at Toledo, was something that made women's basketball games, sporting events that must see events on campus, ones that that our friend group really tried to attend as much as possible, and sparked an interest in women's basketball that has carried through. And so I think that when we see this type of success at the MAC schools, it is exciting to imagine the way that this can spark interest in women's basketball, and really light that fire under fans for years to come.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be huge. So, Buffalo, obviously, Becky Burke has her work cut out for her in terms of keeping this momentum up, and I think she will. I have no doubt in my mind that she's on an upward trajectory as the head coach here at Buffalo. But you mentioned kind of being a women's basketball fan before coming to Toledo. When I was at Ohio Northern, the 2 years I was there, I was in the basketball band, but we had some pretty good women's basketball. A certain Kara Dysert was kind of their leading player. Morgan Dumball was another one. I'm trying to think. They had a couple great role players, like I want to say Steph Hicks. I'm just trying to remember these names off the top of my head. And we may have been a 500 team. I don't remember. I don't remember what our record was. We may have been below 500, but I remember those players and how much they cared about the university they played for. And I think that I don't want to get into a soapbox about NIL and, loyalty to a university, but I think that was something that made being a fan of, at the time, Ohio Northern basketball so special, because there was a lot of loyalty. Those girls were so excited to put on that uniform, to say, we are polar bears. We'll be polar bears for our career. And not to say that there's anything wrong with these players who have transferred, like Chella Watson. Buffalo is her third school. No hard feelings. Now, in fairness, she did follow Becky Burke from USC Upstate to come to Buffalo, but for her to stay for her fifth year, for her to continue and finish out her career with Becky Burke and to stay at Buffalo, you're rewarded with a championship. And I think there's something special about that. And you showed Buffalo that loyalty, and they've shown that back to you in droves. especially by cheering you guys on during this championship run. And I think that right there is something really special.
Absolutely. Absolute love to the Bulls. And yeah, I mean, excited to see where this team goes next. Should be exciting. And I don't think we mentioned it officially, but Chella Watson walks away MVP of this tournament, and so and well deserved. That's like I said, I don't think she scored less than 20 points in the tournament. She had a 28-point game at one point, scores 23 in the championship. A well-deserved tournament MVP, and really just an incredible career and an incredible season for Chella Watson.
Absolutely. Hats off to her. Hats off to Lonnie Cornfield as well from Buffalo for making this all tournament team. And obviously hats off to the entire UB community for your postseason championship. Again, just one of 2 MAC schools to ever do it in the WNIT. And yeah, congratulations to all of you guys. Graham, I don't have anything else today. I figured, this would be our highlight moment. We're going to talk some Buffalo basketball. We're rounding the corner. We finally wrapped up winter sports. Thank you, Buffalo, for being the champion of the winter sports. And now we're sliding fully into spring sports. And we're a month and a half away from conference tournaments. It's crazy to think about.
Absolutely. That's the, when the winter sports drag on, we kind of joke around a little bit about we're sick of basketball at this point, but very happy to have Buffalo drag out winter sports for us for another week or so. And yeah, very excited about the spring sports and coming to the end of the year here. It's a lot of action already this year, and excited to wrap up the school year.
For sure. Well, guys, I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate the love and support as always. Got some cool stuff in the pipeline right now that we're working on. Everything you guys have done in terms of sharing out content, in terms of listening and showing support, giving follows, whatever it is, we cannot overstate just how much we appreciate you and all that love and support. It's been a lot of fun this year. I think Graham's had a good time being on the show. Graham, can you confirm or deny that you enjoyed being co-host?
Yeah, I can.
There it is, folks. You heard him. He can, in fact, confirm or deny that he's enjoyed being the co-host. So we'll leave you with that. We're not gonna beg Graham for an answer on air. I'll beat it out of him. Ask him about it later. And yeah, thank you guys for the love and support. Continue to follow us on all socials. Share out the episode. Share out the content. Like I said, got some great stuff in the pipeline that will be passing along to you guys here, hopefully pretty soon. Like I said, going to work on getting Becky Burke on here, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and do a great recap of the WNIT. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.